All right, so I'm here with Peyton from over at Fourth Radical YouTube channel.
Hey
We're
guys.
talking about what's going down in Portland. So there are reports, credible reports, that what's happening is there are people in military gear in Portland, federal agents. They're not
hmm
identified. It just says police on their shirt, although they're not city police. They're coming in unmarked vehicles and doing all sorts of stuff. They're grabbing people, putting them in the van and driving away, and the people standing around don't know what's going on. Was that the police? What's happening here? There's videos of people who are wearing the gear to identify themselves as basically medical help that show up to these protesters, and if someone gets hurt, they administer medical care. There's videos of those people getting beat up by with batons to these by the unmarked individuals. So pretty scary stuff. And then basically the federal government is coming out and saying, yeah, that's what we're doing, right? So we've heard Trump talk about the great response that's happened in Portland. He's bragging about how well he has quelled everything. And the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security has come out and said, yeah, it's really important that we protect that courthouse because there's been over 40 coats of paint because people keep vandalizing it. So even though we've been told to leave by Portland, we are not leaving because that courthouse has to be protected. So it's really a pretty scary situation. We have the federal government, not welcome, coming in and
hmm
basically acting very authoritarian. So what do you think about this, Peyton?
Yeah, this is absolutely terrifying. I don't even know what I would think besides I'd probably poop my pants if this were to happen to me. I mean, could you imagine how terrifying that is? Someone coming up to you, almost entirely unmarked. Yeah, there's the little
Right.
police symbol, but like, do you really know? And then they put you into a van. I mean, my God, what's going on here? And then let's talk about the hypocrisy here. Let's talk about the hypocrisy because these are supposedly small government conservatives talking about how important it is to protect federal property in a state which they're occupying when the local government is saying, you need to leave. You need to leave. We don't want you here. And they're the ones talking about how this is so important. We need to be defending this property here. I mean, this is the kind of justification that you would see for a colonial empire, why they need to stay in a particular country. This is terrifying.
Yeah, and when I'm doing these videos, I usually try to stay away from words like fascist and authoritarian and stuff like that because sometimes it's counterproductive. But we're getting to a situation where it just seems real authoritarian. I mean,
Oh,
you kind of
absolutely.
can't get away from using those words to describe what's going on here in a situation where even the reason that they're being there, the courthouse, is being graffitied, but it's not like they're burning the thing down. So it seems like a pretty weak reason to be trying to justify that you need to send these troops in.
Absolutely. I mean, this is totally fascistic. You are absolutely right. That is the word that needs to be used to describe this. This is absolutely fascist. This is absolutely right winger. Right winger. This is completely wrong to see something like this. And then, of course, it's the so-called patriots that are justifying it. It's the patriots, the people who really love America, who are the ones first to undermine it. It would seem, or at least something like that. Because this is. Again, this is completely terrifying. This is the kind of thing, again, that you would expect to see in some country that the United States is about to topple, that the United States is about to go in and invade. And that's the thing that they're doing here in streets here at home. And by the way, guys, you might be a right winger watching this and thinking to yourself, well, they're left wingers, so they deserved it. Just wait till it happens to you, because it probably will.
Yeah, and this is a situation. Clearly, things are not being followed properly. One of the individuals who was nabbed and then was later released, apparently there was no paperwork. I mean, he's still not even sure exactly who
Right.
nabbed him. Does he have a record? Is there a record that he was arrested? Was he arrested? Was he just detained? I mean, it seems like the whole point of this is just to incite fear, where you're nabbing people off the street and you're making this fear. You don't even really know who's grabbing you, but we're out there and we're going to come get you. And it's definitely disturbing to see this kind of thing.
Exactly. You don't know if you could be next. So you're exactly right to say that this is an intimidation tactic, especially in the case that you were mentioning there. I believe in the case you were referring to there, they basically arrested him or whatever. They had him held, and then when they were finally questioned about it or videos released, they just let him go. Basically, am
Yeah.
I right? Are we talking about the same
Yeah,
one?
right, right.
Yeah.
He just like he was walking away and he wasn't even sure what's happened. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So how can you even know, like, I mean, this is exactly how our country should not be running.
Right.
Like this is the, this, like the, I could see people watching this and thinking like, okay, well, you're overreacting. Like, yes, this is bad, but there's a lot of other worse things. No, this is actually authoritarian. This is actually a first step towards authoritarianism. Because again, that word is thrown around so much, so much. Oh, authoritarian. Oh, this is fascist, et cetera, et cetera. And you never know when it's serious. This is an instance where it is seriously being applied, where this is truly a terrifying action by our government, and it is government overreach. Like, that's the kind of phrase that you don't usually hear people at the left talking about. Oh, government overreach. No, this is a clear example of what I would determine legitimately as government overreach.
Right. And this is still a developing story, so we'll probably end up talking about this again. It's very disturbing when you see Homeland Security and the president talking about what a great job they're doing, right? Particularly in this instance. I'm not saying overall, but they're talking about Portland specifically and saying, look what a great job we've gone in there and we've kept the peace. We've quelled the disruptions. That's very upsetting. So this is something all of us need to be paying attention to and making sure that we get our voices out there, so this kind of thing is seen to be unacceptable, because there are watch groups right now who are looking out and saying this looks like they're testing, right? They were testing things when they tear gassed that group so Trump could walk across the street. They're testing things now in Portland to see what they can get away with, and we're just going to see a continuation of this for the next few months up to the election. So we need to look out for this. Thanks, Peyton, for joining us. Great conversation.
Thanks.
Make sure to head over to his channel,
Appreciate
Fourth Radical, on YouTube. Some really good videos over there, really good stuff to watch. So make sure you go check that out, and we will see you in the future.
All right. Thanks for having me.